scooters you see in front of me are two of the highest selling two-wheelers in India and need really no introduction. And chances are, if you're in the market for a brand new scooter, you're probably considering either the Honda Activa or the TVS Jupiter. Now we've been riding them around for a fair few days around Mumbai, and we're going to tell you which is the scooter to put your money on. We'll start with the Activa because this is probably the ubiquitous Indian scooter. Now, its design really hasn't changed a lot since 2010. It's just kept getting minor nips and tucks. And some would say that this design is feeling a little dated, but if you check the sales figures, you'll see that market demand clearly hasn't dwindled because of that. As you'd expect from a Honda, build and quality on the Activa are quite nice. The switch gears, tactile, everything feels neatly put together. And this is the top H Smart variant of the Activa, and as such you get features like alloy wheels, a TFT display, keyless ignition and even fuel-saving start-stop tech. Now all of these features are actually quite nice to have, especially the TFT display, and that's something that you will not see on any other 110cc rival scooter today. It's a nice clean layout. If one thing that I can complain about the TFT is that the bezels are a little thick and there's a little too much black plastic in the rider's point of view surrounding the TFT. But other features like the keyless ignition and the start-stop tech really work well. They aid convenience and they're very user-friendly as well. Speaking of the keyless ignition, you never have to take the key out of your pocket. Even if you want to lock the handlebar, you just twist it, turn the key fob and that's it. And the start-stop tech, this has to be one of the best systems that I've experienced on an Indian scooter. You just need to twist the throttle once you want to get moving, once the scooter's engine is shut, and that's it. However, there are some areas where the Activa clearly does fall behind. For instance, it's 2025 and you don't even get a front disc brake even as an option on any variant of the Activa. Another area where the Activa really does fall behind is that its boot now feels quite small, especially in a day and age where EVs are offering almost double the boot space, and the petrol Jupiter that I have with me also has one of the largest boots on sale in India. And speaking of boot space, that's a really nice way to segue into the Jupiter because its 33-litre boot is something no other rival petrol-powered scooter in India can match today. And this boot is one of the biggest USPs of the Jupiter, and it's a very strong factor that will tempt you to get one. And since this is the top Jupiter we have with us, it's also got some nifty features like an LCD display with Bluetooth connectivity, smart hybrid system, a mild hybrid system that gives you a little electric boost a couple times a minute. Its performance is quite nice, but we'll come to that in just a second. Other handy features that the Jupiter also gets are an apron-mounted fuel filler and a winged preload adjuster for the rear monoshock. It's that little attention to detail that TVS has paid in these things that makes me prefer it a little bit over the Activa in that sense. However, some features on the Jupiter could be executed a little better. For example, the start-stop system. What you need to do, where on the Activa you just need to twist the throttle to get going, on the Jupiter you first need to press the brake, then give accelerator, then wait for a bit while the engine restarts, and then you can get going. Now, it doesn't take all that long, it just takes 2 or 3 seconds. But in a city like Mumbai where the traffic can get frustratingly chaotic, those 2 or 3 seconds make all the difference. Nevertheless, I must say that the TVS Jupiter is really one of the best looking family scooters out there. Now, of course, this model got a refresh and it was all new last year. So this really looks like a scooter that came out in the modern age. You've got all LED lighting because this is the top variant, and overall I think the TVS Jupiter's design blends traditionality and modernity quite well. Of course, if this was just a spec sheet comparison, the Jupiter would have probably already been crowned the winner. But as we found out after riding them back to back in the real world, things aren't as straightforward. I'm going to start with the Activa again because it's got a really calm and pleasant riding experience, and that's the sort of thing that people in the segment are usually shopping for. It's got a lovely smooth engine, the ride quality is nice and absorptive, it keeps you safe over most of the road bumps that you'll encounter in a city like Mumbai. Only the really big ones filter through to your back. The thing is, for a heavier rider like myself, the slightly stiffer seat of the Activa gives me better support over longer distances than the Jupiter seat, which feels a little soft and therefore allows me to sink a little bit in. However, once you jump onto the Jupiter, a lot of things become a little bit better. It's got the smoother engine, Of course, while it does have the smoother engine, its vibration at idle is a bit of a bummer. It does thump you around a little bit, but all of that goes away as soon as you twist the throttle and get going. It's also got a little more performance, and while this isn't a category where performance really does sway the riding decision, it's really nice to have that extra pep when you need it. Especially if you have a long commute, say you stay in a big metro city and you have a fast intra-city commute, then something like the Jupiter would make a little more sense. Of course, if you're shopping for a scooter in this category, chances are that you want it to be approachable and manageable for a shorter person. Now at 5'11", I don't think I am the authority on approachability for these scooters, so I'm going to call Autocar India's resident seat height tester Ashley Baxter. Now, it's interesting because the Activa has the lower seat height on paper, but when I spoke to Ashley after he sat on both scooters back to back, he actually said that he found the Jupiter's perch more easier to flatfoot. Now I feel that is because the Jupiter has a narrower seat at the front, which gives you that little more leeway to place your feet firmly on the ground. It's not that big a difference, but crucially the Jupiter is that little bit easier to flatfoot. Thank you, Ashley. While the Jupiter is the easier machine to flatfoot for a shorter person, it fits a larger person a little more comfortably because when you're making a lock-to-lock U-turn, the handlebar doesn't foul with your knees as much as the Activa. The Activa's handlebar feels like it's a little low and placed a little closer to you, whereas the Jupiter's handlebar feels like it's a little more upright and a little further away from you. Some small but noteworthy features on the Jupiter that will actually be helpful in day-to-day situations are its handy parking brake lock clasp that literally takes just a single finger to operate, in comparison to the Activa's, which needs two hands and feels quite old-fashioned now. Another plus point of the Jupiter is its light center stand mechanism, which allows smaller riders to prop it up on the stand with just a single push. Again, it's not as if the Activa is difficult to put on the main stand, but crucially, it is that little bit easier on the Jupiter. In our tests, both scooters were evenly matched in terms of performance and braking, but the Jupiter was quicker than the Activa in roll-on acceleration due to its sharper throttle response and momentary electric boost. While the stopping force on both is rather evenly matched, the Jupiter's front disc brake inspires more confidence and won't need repeated adjustment like the Activa's drum, which makes all the difference. The aspect that's more likely to matter to the average person though is fuel economy. It's here that the Activa ekes out a small but crucial advantage over the Jupiter. Both weigh exactly the same and have start-stop tech, so the difference is likely down to the Honda's frugal engine. By now, we've established that whatever the Honda Activa does well, the TVS Jupiter does it that little bit better, aside from the important factor of fuel efficiency where the Activa is a little bit better than the Jupiter. But there are still some important reasons why nobody has been able to dethrone the Activa from its throne yet. Its reputation for bulletproof reliability, its stellar resale value and lovely fuel efficiency are all very tangible reasons why people from all across the country still flock to Honda showrooms even 25 years after the Activa first went on sale. And this top H-Smart version with its TFT dash, key fob and slick start-stop tech really does make a case for itself. So if you're in the market for a scooter, the Activa still makes a very credible case for itself. At the same time, I cannot ignore just how much better the TVS Jupiter is on pure objective terms. It is the more practical of the two. Its big boot is really a USP you just can't ignore. It has the better ride and handling balance. Its engine is smoother and doesn't feel as strained at faster highway speeds. And it also looks and feels more modern, which is something the Activa just can't do. However, as multiple viewers have pointed out on multiple past videos, TVS's reputation for after-sales and service is rather hit or miss. So that is one area where the company still has some work left to do. Nevertheless, as a product, the TVS Jupiter does so many things expected of a scooter so well, while costing a little bit less than the Activa, that we have to make it the winner of this comparison today.